My name is Sophia Martinez, and I'm 42 years old. 3 weeks ago, my younger sister Elena got married in a lavish ceremony that cost over $150,000. $200 guests attended. I wasn't one of them. I wasn't invited to my own sister's wedding. But here's the twisted part. I found out later that I was the main topic of conversation at that wedding. Every speech mentioned me. Every toast referenced me. Half the guests spent the reception talking about me. My absence was the elephant in the room that nobody could stop discussing. Let me tell you how I went from being Elena's beloved older sister to being deliberately excluded from the biggest day of her life. And let me tell you what I discovered about why they were all talking about me at that wedding, because the truth was far worse than I ever imagined. It was a Saturday morning when I found out about the wedding, not from an invitation, not from a phone call, but from a Facebook post. I was sitting in my small apartment in Chicago, drinking coffee and scrolling through social media when I saw photos. Dozens of photos. My sister Elena in a stunning white wedding dress, standing next to her new husband Kevin, surrounded by family and friends. The wedding had happened the night before, and I'd had no idea it was even taking place. I stared at the photos, my hands shaking. My sister, my baby sister who I'd helped raise after our mother died when Elena was 12. My sister who used to call me her hero. My sister who I thought I'd always be close to. She'd gotten married, and she hadn't invited me. I scrolled through the photos with tears streaming down my face. There was my father walking Elena down the aisle. There were my aunts and uncles in the front rows. There were Elena's friends from college as bridesmaids. There were cousins I'd grown up with at the reception. Everyone was there, everyone except me. Before we dive into this heartbreaking story about family betrayal and shocking secrets, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that like button and turn on an OTFICTONS because this story has twists you won't believe. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, India, Mexico. Let me know who's here with me. Now let's find out why Sophia was excluded from her sister's wedding. To understand how I ended up excluded from Elena's wedding, I need to take you back 6 months. Back to when our relationship started falling apart. 6 months before the wedding, I was living in Chicago working as a teacher at an elementary school. I'd been teaching for 15 years and loved my job, even though the pay wasn't great. Elena lived in Los Angeles, working as a marketing executive for a tech company. She made good money, 6 figures, and lived a lifestyle I could never afford. We'd always been close despite the distance. We talked on the phone every week. We visited each other a few times a year. She was my little sister, and I was fiercely protective of her. Then Elena called me one day with exciting news. "Sophia, I have something to tell you," Elena said, her voice bubbling with excitement. "What is it?" I asked, smiling at her enthusiasm. "Kevin proposed," Elena squealed. "We're getting engaged." Kevin was Elena's boyfriend of 2 years. I'd met him a few times when I visited Los Angeles. He seemed nice enough, polite, successful, worked in finance. Elena seemed happy with him, so I was happy for her. "That's wonderful," I said. "Congratulations, when did this happen?" "Last night, he took me to this amazing restaurant and proposed with the most beautiful ring," Elena gushed. "Sophia, I want you to be my maid of honor. Will you do it?" My heart swelled. "Of course, I'd be honored. I'm so happy for you, Elena." "The wedding will probably be in about 6 months," Elena said. "I know that's fast, but Kevin and I don't want to wait. We want to start our lives together as soon as possible." 6 months is plenty of time," I assured her. "We'll make it work. Whatever you need, I'm here." Over the next few weeks, Elena and I talked constantly about wedding plans. She sent me pictures of dresses she was considering. We discussed color schemes and flowers and venues. I offered to help with whatever she needed, even though I knew my teacher's salary meant I couldn't contribute much financially. Then, about a month after the engagement, something changed. About a month after Elena got engaged, I noticed she was calling less frequently. Our weekly phone calls became bi-weekly, then monthly. When I called her, she often didn't answer. When she did answer, she sounded distracted and rushed. "Elena, is everything okay?" I asked during one brief call. "You seem stressed." "I'm fine," Elena said shortly. "Just busy with wedding planning." "Do you need help?" I offered. "I can take time off work and come to LA for a weekend to help you with whatever you need." "That's not necessary," Elena said. "Kevin's mother is helping me with everything." That stung a little. "Oh, okay. Well, I'm still your maid of honor, right? Can I at least help with the bachelorette party?" "We'll see," Elena said vaguely. "I have to go, Kevin's calling." She hung up before I could say goodbye. Over the next few weeks, I tried repeatedly to reach Elena. Most of my calls went to voicemail. My text messages got one-word responses or no responses at all. I was confused and hurt. What had I done wrong? Why was my sister suddenly freezing me out? I called our father, Roberto, who still lived in our hometown of San Antonio. "Dad, have you talked to Elena lately?" I asked. "Yes, she calls me every few days," Dad said. "She's very busy with wedding planning." "She's not returning my calls," I said. "I'm worried about her. Is something wrong?" "She's just stressed," Dad said. "Planning a wedding is a lot of work. Don't take it personally, Mija." But I did take it personally, because it felt personal. 4 months before Elena's wedding, I decided to fly to Los Angeles unannounced. If Elena wouldn't talk to me on the phone, I'd talk to her in person. I used some of my savings to buy a plane ticket and flew to LA on a Friday afternoon. I took an Uber to Elena's upscale apartment building and buzzed her unit. "Hello," Elena's voice came through the intercom. "Elena, it's me. Sophia, can I come up?" There was a long pause. "What are you doing here?" "I came to see you," I said. "We need to talk." Another pause. "Fine, come up." I rode the elevator to the 15th floor and found Elena waiting at her apartment door. She looked beautiful as always, perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, flawless makeup, but her expression was cold. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Elena asked as I entered her apartment. "Because you never answer your phone," I said. "Elena, what's going on? Why are you avoiding me?" Elena sighed and sat down on her expensive leather couch. I sat across from her in a matching armchair. "I'm not avoiding you," Elena said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. "Yes, you are," I said gently. "Elena, you asked me to be your maid of honor, but you won't talk to me about the wedding. You won't let me help. You barely respond to my messages. Did I do something to upset you?" "It's not about you," Elena said. "Then what is it about?" I asked. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Kevin doesn't think you should be my maid of honor." I felt like I'd been slapped. "What? Why?" "He thinks it would be better if his sister Amanda was maid of honor," Elena said, still not looking at me. "Since we're joining our families together." "But I'm your sister," I said, my voice breaking. "Your actual sister." "I know," Elena said, "but Kevin feels strongly about this, and I want to keep the peace with his family." "So you're choosing his sister over me?" I asked, hurt evident in my voice. "It's not about choosing," Elena said defensively. "It's about making everyone happy." "Everyone except me," I pointed out. "Sophia, don't be dramatic," Elena said, finally looking at me with irritation. "You're still invited to the wedding. You'll still be there. It's just the title that's changing." "It's not just a title," I said, tears starting to fall. "Being your maid of honor meant something to me. Standing beside you on the most important day of your life meant something." "I'm sorry," Elena said, but she didn't sound sorry. She sounded annoyed. "But this is my wedding, and I need to do what's best for my marriage." "By pushing away your sister?" I asked. "You're being selfish," Elena said, her voice hardening. "This day is about me and Kevin, not about you and your feelings." I stared at her, shocked by her tone. "When did you become like this?" "Like what?" Elena challenged. "Cold," I said quietly. "You used to be warm and loving. You used to care about family." "I do care about family," Elena said. "I'm starting a new family with Kevin. That has to be my priority now." I stood up. "I should go." Sophia, Elena started. No, it's fine, I said, wiping my tears. I understand. Kevin's family is more important than me. I get it. I walked to the door. Elena didn't try to stop me. As I reached for the doorknob, I turned back. Elena, I love you, no matter what. I just want you to know that. I love you too, Elena said, but her words felt empty. I left her apartment and flew back to Chicago the next day, my heart broken. But I still had hope. I still believed that once the wedding stress was over, Elena and I would repair our relationship. I still believed I'd be at her wedding, even if I wasn't the maid of honor. I was wrong about that. Over the next month, I heard nothing from Elena. 0 calls, 0 texts, complete silence. I didn't reach out either. I was hurt, and I figured Elena needed space. I assumed she'd contact me when she was ready. Then, 3 months before the wedding, I got a group text. It was from Elena's friend Jasmine, who I'd met a few times. The group text went to about 15 people and said, Elena's bachelorette party is next month in Las Vegas. Reply if you're in. It's going to be amazing. I wasn't included in the group text, but I saw it because Jasmine had accidentally added me initially, then removed me seconds later when she realized her mistake. But it was too late. I'd already seen it. My sister was having a bachelorette party, and I wasn't invited. I called Elena immediately. For once, she answered. Hello. Elena, it's me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I saw the text about your bachelorette party. I know it was an accident that I saw it. But Elena, why wasn't I invited? Sophia, I don't want to fight about this, Elena said tiredly. I'm not trying to fight, I said. I just want to understand. I'm your sister. Why wouldn't I be invited to your bachelorette party? Because it's going to be a certain group of people, Elena said. Kevin's sister is planning it. She invited her friends and my work friends. It's going to be a specific vibe. A vibe that doesn't include your own sister? I asked, my voice rising. It's complicated, Elena said. No, it's not complicated, I said. Elena, what is going on? Why are you pushing me out of your life? I'm not pushing you out, Elena started. Yes, you are, I interrupted. You demoted me from maid of honor. You won't talk to me. Now you're not inviting me to your bachelorette party. What did I do to deserve this? You didn't do anything, Elena said quietly. Then why? I begged. Please just tell me why. Kevin doesn't think you're a good fit for the wedding party, Elena finally admitted. Why? I demanded. What's wrong with me? It's not that something's wrong with you, Elena said carefully. It's just, Kevin's family is very image conscious. They're wealthy and successful, and you're. She trailed off. I'm what? I asked, my voice cold. You're a teacher, Elena said. You don't make a lot of money. You live in a small apartment. You drive an old car. Kevin's mother thinks it would look bad to have you in prominent photos and videos. She thinks it would seem like our family is struggling. I couldn't speak. I was too shocked. My sister was excluding me from her wedding because I wasn't wealthy enough. Because I'd chosen a career helping children instead of making 6 figures. Because Kevin's family thought I would make them look bad. Sophia, Elena said, are you still there? I can't believe you, I whispered. I can't believe you're doing this. I'm sorry, Elena said, but this is Kevin's mother's preference and I have to respect that. No, you don't, I said. You could stand up for me. You could tell Kevin and his mother that I'm your sister and I'm more important than their image. But you're not doing that. You're choosing them over me. It's not that simple, Elena started. Yes, it is, I said. Elena, I raised you. After Mom died, I took care of you. I helped you with homework. I drove you to school. I worked 2 jobs to help pay for your college. I've been there for you my entire life. And you're casting me aside because I don't make enough money to fit Kevin's mother's standards. I know you helped me, Elena said, and now she sounded emotional. And I'm grateful. But Sophia, I need to build a life with Kevin. That means sometimes making compromises. This isn't a compromise, I said. This is betrayal. Don't be dramatic, Elena said, her voice hardening again. You're still invited to the wedding, you'll still be there. But I wouldn't be, though I didn't know that yet. 2 months before Elena's wedding, I received a phone call from my father. Mija, we need to talk, Dad said, his voice serious. What's wrong? I asked. It's about Elena's wedding, Dad said. I need you to listen to me very carefully and try not to get upset. Okay, I said, my stomach sinking. Elena called me yesterday, Dad said. She asked me to talk to you about the wedding. What about it? I asked. Dad took a deep breath. She thinks it would be better if you didn't attend. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. What? She's worried there will be tension, Dad explained. After the conversations you two have had, she thinks your presence might create awkwardness. She wants her wedding day to be perfect without any family drama. I would never cause drama at her wedding, I said, tears starting to form. I know that, Mija, Dad said gently. But Elena's worried, and Kevin's family has made it clear they'd prefer you not be there. Kevin's family doesn't even know me, I said. How can they prefer I not be there? They know you're not wealthy, Dad said carefully. Elena told them about your situation, about your teaching job and your modest lifestyle. Kevin's mother apparently said something to Elena about not wanting embarrassing relatives at the wedding. So I'm an embarrassing relative now? I asked, my voice breaking. No, Mija, that's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying, I cried. Dad, how can you be okay with this? How can you let Elena treat me this way? I'm not okay with it, Dad said, and he sounded sad. But Elena's an adult. I can't control her decisions, and if this is what she wants for her wedding. What about what I want? I demanded. What about the fact that I'm her sister and I love her and I want to be there for her biggest day? I know, Dad said, but sometimes love means giving people space, even when it hurts. This isn't space, I said. This is exile. Dad sighed. Sophia, I think you should respect Elena's wishes. Don't come to the wedding. Let her have her day without conflict. You're choosing her side, I said in disbelief. I'm not choosing sides. Yes, you are, I said. You're telling me to accept being excluded from my sister's wedding because she's embarrassed by me. That's not, Dad started. I have to go, I said and hung up. I sat in my apartment, crying for hours. My sister didn't want me at her wedding. My father was supporting her decision. I was being cast aside by my own family because I wasn't successful enough for Kevin's wealthy family. But I still didn't know the full truth. I didn't know why they were really excluding me. And I didn't know that on Elena's wedding day, I would be the topic of every single conversation, even though I wasn't there. What I discovered later would make everything make sense, and it would change my relationship with my family forever. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The day of Elena's wedding, I woke up in my Chicago apartment feeling hollow. I'd spent the past 2 months trying to come to terms with being excluded from my own sister's wedding, but the pain hadn't lessened. If anything, it had gotten worse. I looked at my phone. It was Saturday, September 23rd. In Los Angeles, my sister was probably getting ready for her ceremony. Her bridesmaids, none of whom were me, were probably helping her into her dress. My father was probably preparing to walk her down the aisle, and I was 2,000 miles away, uninvited. I tried to distract myself. I went for a run. I cleaned my apartment. I graded papers for my class. But every few minutes, I'd check the time and imagine what was happening at the wedding. 2 p.m. Los Angeles time. The ceremony is probably starting. 3 p.m., they're probably married now. 4 p.m., the reception is beginning. I felt like a ghost haunting my own family's celebration from across the country. Around 6 p.m. Chicago time, I made a decision that would change everything. I decided to look at social media. I told myself I wouldn't, that it would only hurt me more, but I couldn't help it. I needed to see my sister on her wedding day, even if I couldn't be there. I opened Instagram and searched for the wedding hashtag I'd seen Elena mention once. Kevin and Elena forever. Photos were already being posted, dozens of them. I scrolled through images of my sister looking radiant in her wedding dress. The venue was stunning, a luxury resort in Malibu with ocean views. Everything looked perfect. But as I scrolled through the photos and read the captions, I started noticing something strange. Multiple posts mentioned me. One post from Elena's friend Jasmine. Beautiful ceremony, so sad Sophia couldn't make it. Elena really wanted her sister here. Kevin and Elena forever. Another from a cousin. Gorgeous wedding, everyone asking about Sophia though. Hard to celebrate when the bride's sister is missing. Kevin and Elena forever. Another from someone I didn't recognize. Best wedding ever, but the Sophia situation cast a shadow. Feels so bad for Elena having to deal with family drama on her big day. Kevin and Elena forever. I stared at my phone in confusion. They were talking about me, saying I couldn't make it, suggesting there was family drama. What was Elena telling people? I kept scrolling. More and more posts referenced me. People expressing sympathy that I wasn't there. People saying how unfortunate it was that I was unable to attend. People speculating about why I was absent. Then I found a post that made my blood run cold. It was from Kevin's mother, Patricia Morrison, who I'd never met in person. The post showed Patricia standing with Elena and Kevin, all three smiling at the camera. The caption read, "So grateful my son found a woman who values family the way we do. Despite her sister choosing not to attend and trying to sabotage this beautiful day, Elena remained graceful and focused on what matters, the love she and Kevin share. Proud to welcome her to our family. Kevin and Elena forever family first." I read it 3 times, my hands shaking. Choosing not to attend, trying to sabotage. What was she talking about? I immediately called my father. He answered on the 3rd ring, and I could hear wedding music and voices in the background. "Sophia," Dad said, "why are you calling? I'm at the reception." "Dad, what is going on?" I demanded. "I'm looking at social media and everyone is saying I chose not to attend the wedding. Elena's mother-in-law is saying I tried to sabotage the wedding. What is she talking about?" There was a pause. I heard Dad walking away from the noise. Then he said quietly, "Mija, I told you not to look at social media today." "Answer my question," I said. "What is Elena telling people?" Dad sighed heavily. "Elena told people that you were invited to the wedding, but you declined to come because you disapprove of Kevin." "What?" I said, my voice rising. "That's a lie. Elena specifically told me not to come. You called me and told me she didn't want me there." "I know," Dad said quietly, "but that's not what she's telling the guests." "Why would she lie?" I asked, feeling tears starting. "Dad, why would Elena lie about this?" "Because Kevin's family asked her to," Dad admitted. "They didn't want anyone to know that they were the ones who didn't want you at the wedding. They didn't want to look bad. So Elena agreed to tell people that you chose not to come." "And you let her do this?" I asked in disbelief. "You're there at the wedding, and you're letting Elena tell everyone that I'm the one who abandoned her." "What am I supposed to do?" Dad asked, sounding tired. "Make a scene at her wedding, cause drama." "You could tell the truth," I said. "You could stand up for me." "Sophia, I'm sorry," Dad said. "But this is Elena's wedding day. I'm not going to ruin it by causing problems." "So instead you'll let me be the villain," I said bitterly. "You'll let everyone think I'm a terrible sister who wouldn't even come to her own sister's wedding." "It's just for today," Dad said. "After the wedding, things will calm down." "No, Dad," I said. "After today, everyone in our family will think I'm a horrible person. They'll think I abandoned Elena on the most important day of her life, and it's all a lie." "I'm sorry," Dad said again, but I could tell he wasn't going to do anything about it. I hung up on him. Over the next few hours, I watched in horror as more and more posts went up about the wedding, and increasingly, they mentioned me. A post from Elena's college friend Madison. Elena gave the most beautiful speech about family. She talked about how much she wished her sister Sophia could have put aside their differences and been here. "Elena's so forgiving. I don't think I could be that gracious if my sister boycotted my wedding. Kevin and Elena forever." A post from Kevin's sister, Amanda, who had replaced me as maid of honor. As maid of honor, it was such an honor to stand beside Elena today, especially knowing how hard this day was for her without her sister here. But she was so brave and beautiful. Kevin's lucky to have found someone who can rise above family conflict. Kevin and Elena forever. A post from my cousin Carlos. Great wedding, but can't stop thinking about Sophia. Can't believe she didn't come. Elena's heartbroken even though she's trying to hide it. Family should be there for each other. Kevin and Elena forever. Each post twisted the knife deeper. Not only had Elena excluded me, but she was now painting me as the bad guy. She was telling everyone that I had chosen not to come, that I disapproved of her marriage, that I had abandoned her. And worse, she was positioning herself as the victim. Poor Elena, so heartbroken that her sister wouldn't attend. Poor Elena, so gracious and forgiving despite her sister's cruelty. It was a complete inversion of the truth. I wanted to scream. I wanted to comment on every single post and tell them the truth, that Elena had deliberately excluded me, that Kevin's family thought I wasn't good enough, that my father had told me not to come. But I didn't, because I knew if I did, people would just think I was bitter and jealous. They'd think I was trying to ruin Elena's wedding day. Elena had already controlled the narrative. Anything I said now would just make me look worse. So I sat in my apartment, alone, watching my family and friends talk about me at a wedding I wasn't invited to, feeling completely powerless. Sunday morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls and text messages, all from my aunts, uncles, and cousins, all essentially saying the same thing. Sophia, how could you? Your poor sister was devastated you didn't come. You should be ashamed of yourself. Family is everything. You chose pride over your sister's happiness. I didn't respond to any of them. What could I say? Then I saw that someone had posted a video from the wedding reception. It was Elena's father-daughter dance with our dad. I clicked on it, even though I knew it would hurt. The video showed Elena and Dad dancing to My Little Girl by Tim McGraw. Elena was crying. Dad was crying. Everyone watching was crying. Then, halfway through the dance, the music faded and Dad took the microphone. I want to say a few words, Dad said, his voice emotional. Elena, you've grown into such an incredible woman. Your mother would be so proud of you today. The crowd murmured agreement. I know today hasn't been easy, Dad continued. I know you're hurting because your sister isn't here. I know you wanted Sophia to be part of this day. Elena wiped tears from her eyes and nodded. But I want you to know, Dad said, that sometimes in life we have to accept that not everyone will support our choices. Sometimes the people we love will let us down, but that doesn't diminish the love we have for them. The crowd applauded. Sophia will always be your sister, Dad said, and I hope someday she'll come around and accept your marriage and your new family. But until then, know that you did everything you could. You extended every olive branch. You tried your best. And if she can't accept that, that's on her, not on you. The applause grew louder. Elena hugged Dad, crying harder. I watched this video 3 times, feeling like I was going to be sick. My father, my own father, was publicly supporting Elena's lie. He was standing in front of 200 people and reinforcing the narrative that I had abandoned Elena, that I disapproved of her marriage, that she had tried to include me and I had rejected her. When I knew for a fact that the opposite was true. My father, who knew the truth, was choosing to support the lie. I finally understood that this wasn't just about Elena's wedding. This was about something much bigger. This was about my entire family rewriting history to protect Elena and Kevin's image. And I was the sacrifice. A week after the wedding, I got an unexpected phone call from Jasmine, Elena's friend who had organized the bachelorette party I wasn't invited to. Sophia, it's Jasmine, can we talk? What do you want? I asked coldly. I need to tell you something. Jasmine said, something that's been bothering me since the wedding. Go ahead, I said. I feel terrible about what happened, Jasmine said. The whole wedding, people kept asking about you, where you were, why you weren't there. And Elena kept telling this story about how you disapproved of Kevin and refused to come. I know, I said. I saw the posts. But Sophia, Jasmine said, her voice dropping, I know that's not true. I sat up straighter. What? I know Elena didn't invite you, Jasmine said. Or rather, I know Kevin's mother told Elena not to invite you. How do you know that? I asked. Because I overheard a conversation 3 months ago, Jasmine admitted. I was at Elena's apartment helping her address wedding invitations. Kevin's mother, Patricia, was there too. Patricia was going through the guest list and she stopped at your name. And, I prompted. Patricia said, this sister Sophia, she's not going to be at the wedding, correct? Jasmine recounted. Elena said, well, she's my sister, so of course she'll be there. And Patricia said, Elena, we need to discuss this. Kevin's family has a certain image to maintain. Your sister is a school teacher who lives in a small apartment. Our guests are successful people, CEOs, entrepreneurs, wealthy families. We can't have someone like Sophia in the family photos or at the head table. It would send the wrong message. I felt rage building in my chest. What did Elena say? Elena tried to argue at first, Jasmine said. She said you were her sister and it wasn't right to exclude you. But Patricia was adamant. She said if Elena wanted to marry into the Morrison family, she needed to understand that image matters, that the people you surround yourself with reflect on the family. So Elena agreed, I said bitterly. Not immediately, Jasmine said. But over the next few weeks, Patricia kept working on her, telling her how important it was to Kevin that his family's standards be maintained, how it would be better for Elena's future if she started fresh with the Morrison family values. Eventually, Elena gave in. But why lie about it? I asked. Why tell everyone I chose not to come? Because Patricia didn't want anyone to know the Morrisons had excluded you, Jasmine explained. She didn't want to look like the bad guy, so she made Elena agree to say that you had declined to attend. That way, the blame falls on you, not on them. And Elena went along with it, I said. Yes, Jasmine confirmed. Sophia, I wanted to tell you sooner, but I was afraid. Elena's my friend and I didn't want to betray her confidence. But after the wedding, seeing how everyone was talking about you, seeing your father give that speech, it didn't feel right. You deserve to know the truth. Thank you for telling me, I said quietly. But Jasmine, does it matter? Everyone already believes Elena's version. Even if I tell people the truth, who's going to believe me over the bride? I would, Jasmine said, and I think others would too if they knew. I don't know, I said. Right now, I just feel like I've lost my entire family. I'm sorry, Jasmine said. For what it's worth, Elena does love you. I think she made a terrible choice, but I don't think she wanted to hurt you. But she did hurt me, I said. And worse, she's letting everyone believe I'm the bad guy, that I'm the one who abandoned her. She's not just excluding me from her wedding, she's erasing the truth of what actually happened. I know, Jasmine said softly. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, I admitted. But Jasmine, can I ask you something? Of course. You said people were talking about me all night at the wedding, I said. What were they saying? Everyone was asking where you were, Jasmine said. Elena's college friends, your relatives, even people who didn't know you personally. Elena's absence of a sister at the wedding was really obvious. And when Elena gave her speech during the reception, she spent half of it talking about you. What did she say? I asked, not sure I wanted to know. She talked about how you raised her after your mom died, Jasmine said. How you were more like a mother to her than a sister. How much she loves you and wishes you could be there. How heartbroken she was that you chose not to come. Jasmine paused, then continued. Sophia, it was actually pretty manipulative. She made herself look like the victim while making you look like the villain, and everyone ate it up. People were crying. They were coming up to her all night saying how sorry they were that her sister had abandoned her. Honestly, it was hard to watch. She weaponized my absence, I said, the realization hitting me. She turned my exclusion into a way to gain sympathy. Yes, Jasmine said. That's exactly what she did. We talked for a few more minutes, then hung up. I sat in my apartment, processing everything Jasmine had told me. My sister hadn't just excluded me from her wedding. She'd created an entire false narrative about why I wasn't there. She'd positioned herself as the victim and me as the heartless sister who couldn't support her. She'd let her new mother-in-law dictate who was worthy of being at the wedding, and she'd allowed my father to give a speech supporting her lies. I'd been erased, not just from the wedding, but from the truth itself. 2 weeks after Elena's wedding, I decided I couldn't let this stand anymore. I needed to confront Elena directly. I needed to hear from her own mouth why she'd done this. I flew to Los Angeles without warning. I showed up at the house Elena and Kevin had just moved into, a beautiful 4-bedroom home in an expensive neighborhood that Kevin's parents had bought for them as a wedding present. I rang the doorbell. Elena answered, her face going pale when she saw me. "Sophia," she said, "what are you doing here?" "We need to talk," I said. "Can I come in?" Elena hesitated, then stepped aside. "Kevin's not here, he's at work." "Good," I said. "I want to talk to you alone." We sat in Elena's pristine new living room. Everything looked expensive and perfect. Nothing like my small, cluttered apartment in Chicago. "Elena, I know the truth," I said without preamble. "I know Kevin's mother told you not to invite me to the wedding. I know you lied to everyone and told them I chose not to come. I know you let Dad give that speech saying I abandoned you when you know that's not what happened." Elena's face flushed. "Who told you that?" "That doesn't matter," I said. "What matters is that it's true. You deliberately excluded me from your wedding, then you made everyone think it was my fault." "Sophia," Elena started. "No," I interrupted. "Let me finish. You let your mother-in-law decide that I wasn't good enough to be at your wedding because I'm not rich. You chose their image over your own sister. And then, instead of owning that decision, you lied about it. You made me look like a terrible person to our entire family." "I didn't have a choice," Elena said, tears forming in her eyes. "Yes, you did," I said. "You could have stood up to Patricia. You could have told her that I'm your sister and I would be at your wedding regardless of what she wanted. You could have been honest with people about why I wasn't there instead of lying." "You don't understand what it's like," Elena said. "The Morrisons are an important family. Patricia has connections everywhere. Kevin's entire career depends on his family's approval and support. If I'd gone against Patricia's wishes, it would have caused huge problems for Kevin." "So Kevin's career is more important than your sister?" I asked. "It's not that simple," Elena said, her voice rising. "Sophia, I'm building a life with Kevin. That means sometimes I have to make sacrifices." "I'm not a sacrifice," I said. "I'm your sister." "You're also stubborn and judgmental," Elena shot back. "You've always looked down on my choices. You think I'm shallow for caring about money and status. You think I'm a sellout for working in marketing instead of doing something meaningful like teaching." "That's not true," I said. "Yes, it is," Elena insisted. "You've always acted superior because you're a teacher and I'm just some corporate drone. Well, guess what? I like my life. I like having money. I like living in a nice house and wearing nice clothes. And I like Kevin's family and the opportunities they can provide." "Is that really what you think of me?" I asked quietly. "That I judge you for your choices?" "Don't you?" Elena challenged. "No," I said. "Elena, I've always been proud of you. I've always supported your career and your success. I never looked down on you. I just wanted to be part of your life." "Well, you can't be," Elena said flatly. "Not the way things are now. Patricia was right. You don't fit with Kevin's world. You'd be uncomfortable and you'd make everyone else uncomfortable." "Because I'm poor," I said. "Because you're different," Elena corrected. "You have different values, different priorities. Patricia and Kevin's family value success and achievement. You value other things." "Like family," I said. "Like loyalty." "That's not fair," Elena said. "Isn't it?" I asked. "Elena, I raised you. After Mom died, I took care of you. I was 18 years old and I gave up my teenage years to make sure you were okay. I worked 2 jobs to help pay for your education. I was there for every important moment of your life. And the one time I needed you to stand up for me, you chose Kevin's mother's approval over me." "I made the choice I had to make," Elena said, but she was crying now. Then I guess I know where I stand, I said, standing up. I know that I'm not important enough to fight for. I know that Kevin's family's opinion matters more than your relationship with your sister. Sophia, don't leave like this, Elena said. Why not? I asked. You already decided I don't belong in your life. You made that clear when you didn't invite me to your wedding. This conversation is just confirming what I already knew. I do love you, Elena said desperately. You're my sister. But not enough, I said. Not enough to stand up for me, not enough to tell the truth, not enough to actually have me be part of your life. I walked to the door. Elena didn't follow me. As I reached the door, I turned back. Elena, you're going to regret this. Maybe not today, maybe not this year. But someday, you're going to realize that you sacrificed something important for people who don't actually care about you. Patricia doesn't love you. She loves what you represent, a woman who will do whatever she's told to maintain the family image. And when you stop being useful to her, she'll discard you just like she made you discard me. That's not true, Elena said weakly. I hope you're right, I said. For your sake, I really do. Because you gave up your sister for this family, I hope they're worth it. I left Elena's house and flew back to Chicago. But I still didn't know the full extent of what I'd been excluded from. I didn't know that my absence had dominated the wedding conversations even more than Jasmine had told me. And I didn't know the real reason Patricia Morrison had wanted me gone, a reason that had nothing to do with money or status, and everything to do with a secret she was desperately trying to hide. 3 weeks after confronting Elena in Los Angeles, I was back in Chicago trying to move on with my life. I'd blocked most of my family on social media. I'd stopped answering calls from relatives who wanted to lecture me about abandoning Elena. I'd thrown myself into my teaching job, focusing on my students instead of my broken family. Then, on a Tuesday evening in late October, I got a phone call that changed everything. It was from someone I never expected to hear from, Amanda Morrison, Kevin's sister, the woman who had replaced me as Elena's maid of honor. Sophia Martinez, Amanda said when I answered. Yes, who is this? I asked. My name is Amanda Morrison. I'm Kevin's sister. I was the maid of honor at Elena and Kevin's wedding. I know who you are, I said coldly. What do you want? I need to talk to you, Amanda said. Her voice sounded strained, urgent. It's important. It's about why you were really excluded from the wedding. I already know why, I said. Your mother thought I wasn't wealthy enough to be in the family photos. That's what she told Elena, Amanda said. But that's not the real reason. Sophia, please, can we meet? I'll fly to Chicago if I have to. There's something you need to know. Something in her voice made me pause. She sounded genuinely distressed. Why would you want to tell me anything? You're Kevin's sister. You're part of the family that excluded me. Because what my mother did was wrong, Amanda said. And because I think you deserve to know the truth. Please, give me 1 hour of your time. After that, if you never want to hear from me again, I'll respect that. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. 2 days later, Amanda flew to Chicago. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment. I recognized her immediately from the wedding photos. Tall, blonde, expensively dressed, everything I apparently wasn't good enough to be around. Thank you for meeting me, Amanda said as she sat down across from me. You have 1 hour, I said. Start talking. Amanda took a deep breath. I need to start by saying that I didn't know what my mother had done until after the wedding. I didn't know you'd been deliberately excluded. I thought you'd chosen not to come, just like everyone else was told. Okay, I said skeptically. But after the wedding, I started noticing things, Amanda continued. The way my mother would change the subject whenever anyone brought you up. The way she'd gotten angry at Elena for mentioning you during her speech. The way she insisted all the wedding photos be carefully edited to remove any references to you. Edited to remove references to me, I repeated. What does that mean? There were photos of Elena getting ready where you could see a framed picture of you and Elena in the background, Amanda explained. My mother had those photos deleted from the photographer's portfolio. There was a memory table at the reception with photos from Elena's life. Some included you. My mother had those photos removed before the reception even started. I felt a chill run down my spine. She was trying to erase me entirely. Yes, Amanda confirmed. And when I asked her why she cared so much, she told me to mind my own business. But I couldn't let it go, so I did some digging. What did you find? I asked. Amanda pulled out her phone and opened a folder of screenshots. These are emails between my mother and a private investigator she hired. A private investigator, I said, shocked. Why would your mother hire a private investigator? To investigate you, Amanda said quietly. Sophia, my mother hired a PI to research your background 3 months before the wedding. She wanted to know everything about you, your job, your finances, your history, everything. Why? I asked, my hands starting to shake. Because she recognized your last name, Amanda said. Martinez. It's your mother's maiden name, isn't it? Yes, I said. My mother was Rosa Martinez before she married my father, Roberto Garcia. Elena and I both use Martinez as our last name to honor her after she died. And your mother grew up in San Antonio, correct? Amanda asked. Yes, I said, confused about where this was going. Amanda took a deep breath. Sophia, my mother grew up in San Antonio too. And 30 years ago, when she was Patricia Wells, before she married my father and became Patricia Morrison, she and your mother knew each other. I stared at Amanda. What? They weren't friends, Amanda said carefully. They were rivals. Specifically, they both dated the same man in college. My mother was convinced this man was going to marry her, but instead, he broke up with my mother and started dating your mother. They got engaged. My mother was devastated and furious. Wait, I said, my mind racing. Are you saying? The man who dumped my mother for yours was Michael Chen, Amanda said. He and your mother were engaged for 2 years. They were planning to get married. I don't understand, I said. My mother married my father, Roberto Garcia, not anyone named Michael Chen. Because Michael Chen died, Amanda said softly. He was killed in a car accident 6 months before their wedding. Your mother was devastated. A year later, she met your father and eventually married him, but my mother never forgot. I felt like the ground had shifted beneath me. Your mother held a grudge against my mother for 30 years over a college boyfriend. It's more than that, Amanda said. She pulled up another document on her phone. After Michael died, there was a trust fund. Michael's family was wealthy, not as wealthy as the Morrisons, but comfortable. Michael had set up a trust fund beneficiary before he died. He'd named your mother as the primary beneficiary. My mother inherited money from Michael, I asked. $200,000, Amanda confirmed. Your mother used that money to help pay for her nursing degree and to help support your family after you were born. That's how she could afford to stay home with you and Elena when you were young instead of working full-time. I never knew that, I said quietly. Your mother probably never told you because it was painful, Amanda said. She lost the man she loved. The money was probably a bittersweet reminder. But what does this have to do with Elena's wedding? I asked. Everything, Amanda said, because my mother believed that money should have been hers. I stared at Amanda in disbelief. That's insane. Why would your mother think she deserved money from a man who broke up with her? Because my mother is petty and vindictive, Amanda said bluntly. She's never gotten over the fact that Michael chose your mother over her. For 30 years, she's harbored resentment. And when Kevin started dating Elena and mentioned Elena's last name was Martinez, my mother did research. She found out Elena was Rosa Martinez's daughter. And suddenly, my mother saw an opportunity for revenge. Revenge, I repeated. What kind of revenge? The wedding wasn't just about image, Amanda said. My mother deliberately excluded you from the wedding as a way to hurt you, and through you, hurt the memory of your mother. She wanted to make you feel rejected and unworthy. She wanted to punish you for being Rosa Martinez's daughter. I felt tears starting to form. That's sick. I know, Amanda said. And it gets worse. After the wedding, I confronted my mother about what I'd discovered. She didn't deny any of it. In fact, she was proud of herself. She said she'd finally gotten back at Rosa Martinez, even though Rosa has been dead for years. by hurting Rosa's daughter and making sure you weren't part of Elena's special day. Elena doesn't know any of this, does she? I asked. No, Amanda said. My mother told Elena it was about image and status. Elena has no idea that my mother has a personal vendetta against your family. I sat back in my chair, overwhelmed. So I was excluded from my sister's wedding because your mother is still angry about something that happened 30 years ago, because she can't let go of a college boyfriend who dumped her. Yes, Amanda said. And Sophia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea when I agreed to be maid of honor that I was participating in my mother's revenge scheme. If I'd known, I would never have done it. Why are you telling me all this? I asked. Because it's wrong, Amanda said simply. Because you deserve to know the truth, and because I think Elena deserves to know the truth too. She married into my family thinking my mother welcomed her with open arms, but my mother only accepted Elena because she saw her as a tool to hurt you. Does Kevin know? I asked. I don't think so, Amanda said. Kevin's a good guy, but he tends to avoid family drama. He probably just went along with whatever my mother suggested without asking too many questions. What do you want me to do with this information? I asked. That's up to you, Amanda said. You can tell Elena, or you can keep it to yourself. You can confront my mother, or you can walk away. But I thought you deserved to know that none of this was really about you. It was about my mother's unresolved issues and her inability to move past something that happened decades ago. After Amanda left, I sat in my apartment for hours, processing everything she'd told me. My mother, my kind, gentle, loving mother who died when I was 24, had been engaged to someone before my father. She'd lost that fiancé in a tragic accident. She'd inherited money that had helped our family, and Kevin's mother had hated her for all of it. I'd been excluded from Elena's wedding not because I was poor or unsuccessful, but because Patricia Morrison wanted to punish my dead mother by hurting me. It was beyond cruel. It was pathological. I knew I had to tell Elena. She deserved to know that her mother-in-law's acceptance of her was built on lies and revenge. She deserved to know that Patricia Morrison had manipulated the entire wedding to serve her own vindictive purposes. But I also knew that telling Elena would blow up her marriage. How could she stay married to Kevin once she knew his mother had used their wedding as a weapon against Elena's own family? I struggled with the decision for days. Part of me wanted revenge. I wanted Elena to feel the pain and betrayal I'd felt. But another part of me still loved my sister, despite everything, and didn't want to hurt her. Finally, I made my decision. I called Elena. Sophia, Elena answered, sounding surprised. I didn't expect to hear from you. We need to talk, I said. In person. Can you fly to Chicago this weekend? Why? Elena asked suspiciously. I thought we said everything we needed to say last time. There's something you need to know about Patricia, I said. About why she really wanted me excluded from your wedding. There was a long pause. What are you talking about? I can't tell you over the phone, I said. Elena, please, this is important. It's about our mother. Our mother, Elena said. Sophia, what does Mom have to do with my wedding? Everything, I said. Please, Elena, come to Chicago. Give me 2 hours. After that, if you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. But you need to hear this. Another pause. Then Elena said, okay, I'll come this weekend. That Saturday, Elena flew to Chicago. We met at my apartment. She looked wary and defensive, like she expected me to attack her again. What's this about, Sophia? Elena asked as soon as she sat down. I handed her my laptop, which had all the documents Amanda had shared with me pulled up. Read these. They're emails between Patricia and a private investigator she hired to research me. Elena's eyes widened. Patricia hired a private investigator to research you. Yes, I said. Read the emails, then I'll explain. Elena spent the next 20 minutes reading through the documents, her expression changing from confusion to shock to anger. I don't understand, Elena finally said. These emails talk about Mom, about someone named Michael Chen, about a trust fund. What does any of this have to do with your exclusion from my wedding? I took a deep breath and told Elena everything Amanda had revealed. About Patricia and our mother being rivals in college. About Michael Chen choosing our mother over Patricia. About Michael's death and the trust fund. About Patricia harboring resentment for 30 years. About Patricia using Elena's wedding as an opportunity for revenge. By the time I finished, Elena was crying. "No," Elena said, shaking her head. "No, that can't be true. Patricia wouldn't do that. She's been nothing but welcoming to me." "Elena, Amanda gave me these documents," I said gently. "Kevin's own sister confirmed this is true. Patricia admitted it to her." "But why?" Elena asked desperately. "Why would Patricia hate our mother? Mom was a good person, she never hurt anyone." "Because Patricia is bitter and vindictive," I said. "Because she can't let go of the past. Elena, I was excluded from your wedding not because I'm poor, but because Patricia wanted to punish me for being our mother's daughter. She wanted to hurt me as a way of getting back at Mom, even though Mom has been dead for 18 years. "This can't be happening," Elena said, her voice breaking. "Sophia, what am I supposed to do? I'm married to Kevin. I'm part of the Morrison family now, if what you're saying is true." "It is true," I said. "Amanda wouldn't have flown to Chicago to tell me this if it wasn't true. She has no reason to lie." Elena stood up and started packing. "Kevin's going to be devastated. His family is everything to him. If I tell him his mother did this." "He needs to know," I said. "Elena, Patricia manipulated your entire wedding. She made you exclude your own sister based on a lie. She used you as a tool for revenge. Kevin needs to know what kind of person his mother really is." "But what if he doesn't believe me?" Elena asked. "What if he takes his mother's side?" "Then you'll know what kind of man you married," I said quietly. Elena sank back down onto the couch, her face in her hands. "I can't believe I did this. I excluded you from my wedding. I let everyone think you abandoned me, and it was all based on Patricia's manipulation." "Yes," I said, "it was." "Sophia, I'm so sorry," Elena said, looking at me with tears streaming down her face. "I should have fought for you. I should have questioned Patricia's reasons. I should have told Kevin that you were more important than his mother's approval. But I didn't. I chose them over you, and I was wrong." "Yes, you were," I agreed. "But Elena, I understand why you did it. Patricia is skilled at manipulation. She made you believe that excluding me was necessary for your marriage and your future. You were trying to build a life with Kevin, and you thought going along with Patricia's demands was the price you had to pay." "But it wasn't worth it," Elena said. "Losing you wasn't worth it." "No," I said, "it wasn't." We sat in silence for a moment. Then Elena said, "What do I do now?" "You tell Kevin the truth," I said. "You show him these documents. You tell him what his mother did. And then you let him decide how he wants to handle it." "And if he doesn't believe me?" Elena asked. "If he chooses his mother over me?" "Then you'll know you married the wrong man," I said. "But Elena, you owe it to yourself and to your marriage to give Kevin a chance to do the right thing. Maybe he'll surprise you." Elena nodded slowly. "Will you come with me when I tell him?" "Are you sure you want me there?" I asked. "Yes," Elena said firmly. "You were excluded from my wedding because of Patricia's lies. The least I can do is have you there when the truth comes out." The next day, Elena and I flew to Los Angeles together. We went to Elena and Kevin's house. Kevin was home, and he looked shocked to see me standing there with Elena. "Sophia," Kevin said, confusion evident on his face. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk," Elena said. "Kevin, sit down. There's something you need to know about why Sophia wasn't at our wedding." For the next hour, Elena showed Kevin all the documents. She explained everything: the private investigator, Michael Chen, the 30-year grudge, Patricia's revenge scheme. Kevin's expression went from confusion to disbelief to anger. "This is insane," Kevin said when Elena finished. "My mother wouldn't do this. She wouldn't hire a PI to investigate someone. She wouldn't exclude Sophia based on some grudge from 30 years ago." "Call your sister," Elena said. "Call Amanda and ask her if it's true." Kevin hesitated, then pulled out his phone and called Amanda. He put her on speaker. "Amanda, it's Kevin. I'm here with Elena and Sophia Martinez. They're telling me some story about Mom hearing a private investigator and having a grudge against Sophia's mother. Is any of this true? There was a pause on the other end. Then Amanda said quietly, "Yes, it's all true. I'm sorry, Kevin, I was going to tell you, but I wanted Sophia to tell Elena first." "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Kevin demanded. "Because I was hoping I was wrong," Amanda said. "But Kevin, I confronted Mom about it. She admitted everything. She's proud of what she did. She thinks she finally got revenge on Rosa Martinez by hurting Rosa's daughters." Kevin's face had gone pale. "Our mother did this. Our mother deliberately manipulated Elena's wedding to hurt Sophia." "Yes," Amanda said. "I'm sorry." Kevin hung up and sat in silence for several minutes. Elena and I didn't say anything. We waited. Finally, Kevin looked at me. "Sophia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. If I'd known what my mother was doing." "What would you have done?" I interrupted. "Would you have stood up to her, or would you have gone along with it like Elena did?" Kevin flinched. "I want to believe I would have stood up to her, but honestly, I don't know. My mother is difficult. She's used to getting her way." "That's not an excuse," I said. "Kevin, your mother manipulated your wedding. She used it as an opportunity for petty revenge against a woman who's been dead for 18 years. She turned what should have been a celebration of love into a weapon, and she made Elena lie to everyone about why I wasn't there. Are you okay with that?" "No," Kevin said firmly. "I'm not okay with that, not at all." "Then what are you going to do about it?" Elena asked quietly. Kevin looked at his wife. "I'm going to confront my mother, and I'm going to make this right." But as we would soon discover, Patricia Morrison wasn't going to go down without a fight. And what happened next would force Elena to make the hardest choice of her life. The day after Kevin discovered the truth about his mother's manipulation, he, Elena, and I drove to Patricia Morrison's mansion in Beverly Hills. Kevin had called ahead and told his mother we were coming. He hadn't told her why. Patricia answered the door herself, dressed impeccably in designer clothes, her blonde hair perfectly styled. She looked at the three of us with surprise, her gaze lingering on me. "Kevin, darling," Patricia said, kissing her son on the cheek. "And Elena, how lovely to see you both. And," she looked at me with cold eyes, "you must be Sophia." "Yes," I said. "We've never officially met." "No, we haven't," Patricia said, her voice icy. "Kevin, what's this about?" "We need to talk, Mother," Kevin said. "Inside, now." Patricia led us into her enormous living room, all white furniture and expensive art. We sat down, Kevin and Elena on one couch, me on a chair, Patricia perched on another chair like a queen on a throne. "Mother, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to be honest with me," Kevin said, his voice tight. "Did you hire a private investigator to research Sophia before the wedding?" Patricia's face remained perfectly composed. "Yes, I did." Elena gasped. Even though we'd known it was true, hearing Patricia admit it so calmly was shocking. "Why?" Kevin demanded. "Because I wanted to know who was marrying into our family," Patricia said smoothly. "It's perfectly reasonable to research the background of your daughter-in-law's relatives." "That's not why you did it," I said. "You did it because you recognized my last name, Martinez, my mother's name." Patricia's eyes narrowed. "I see Amanda has been talking." "Yes, she has," Kevin said. "Mother, Amanda told us everything. About you and Rosa Martinez in college. About Michael Chen. About your grudge. Is it true? Did you exclude Sophia from the wedding because of some 30-year-old rivalry with her dead mother?" Patricia was silent for a long moment. Then she stood up and walked to the window, looking out at her perfectly manicured garden. "Michael Chen was supposed to marry me," Patricia said, her voice taking on a bitter edge. "We dated for 2 years. He told me he loved me. He told me we had a future together. And then one day, he met Rosa Martinez at a party and everything changed." "That was 30 years ago," Elena said. "How can you still be angry about that?" "Because he was mine," Patricia snapped, turning to face us. "Michael was from a good family. He had money, connections, a future. He was perfect for me. And Rosa, nobody Rosa from a working-class family, stole him from me. She didn't deserve him. She wasn't good enough for him. But he chose her, I said quietly. Michael chose my mother over you. That wasn't my mother's fault. That was Michael's choice. He was confused, Patricia said dismissively. Rosa manipulated him. She made him think she was special, different from other girls, but I knew the truth. She was ordinary, common, and yet Michael threw away our future for her. And when he died, you thought the trust fund money should have been yours, Kevin said, understanding dawning on his face. That money was mine, Patricia said. If Michael had stayed with me like he was supposed to, I would have been his beneficiary. But instead, he left everything to Rosa. $200,000 that should have been mine went to her. Mom, Kevin said, standing up, Michael broke up with you. He didn't owe you anything. And the money was his to leave to whoever he wanted. You don't understand, Patricia said. For years, I watched Rosa live off that money. I watched her use what should have been mine to pay for her education, to support her family. Meanwhile, I had to work my way up. Do you know how hard I had to work to marry your father and establish myself in this social circle? So you've hated my mother for 30 years, I said. And when you realized Elena was her daughter, you saw an opportunity for revenge. I saw an opportunity to finally settle the score, Patricia corrected. Rosa took something from me. I took something from her daughter. It's only fair. Rosa is dead, Elena said, her voice rising. She's been dead for 18 years. How is hurting Sophia settling the score with someone who isn't even alive? Because her daughters carry her legacy, Patricia said coldly. And I wanted Rosa's daughter to feel what I felt, rejection, exclusion, the pain of being told you're not good enough. You're insane, I said, standing up. My mother did nothing wrong. She fell in love with a man who chose her. That's not manipulation or theft. That's just life. And you've carried hatred for her for 3 decades over something that was never her fault to begin with. Don't you dare judge me, Patricia said, her composure finally cracking. You have no idea what it's like to lose someone you love to another woman, to watch them build a life with the person who should have been you. Actually, I do know, I said. Because you made Elena exclude me from her wedding. You made me lose my sister. You turned my entire family against me. You made me feel rejected and unworthy and alone. So yes, Patricia, I know exactly what that feels like, because you did that to me deliberately. Good, Patricia said with a cruel smile. Then you understand how I felt, and maybe now Rosa's daughter finally knows her place. Mother, Kevin shouted. How can you say that? How can you be proud of hurting Sophia? Because she deserved it, Patricia said simply. She's Rosa's daughter. That makes her guilty by association. No, Kevin said, his voice shaking with anger. That makes you a vindictive, cruel woman who's so consumed by jealousy that you manipulated your own son's wedding to serve your petty revenge. Kevin, Patricia started. No, Mother, I'm not done, Kevin said. You lied to Elena. You told her Sophia wasn't good enough for the wedding because of money and status. But that was never the real reason. You wanted to hurt Sophia because you're still angry about something that happened before I was even born. Kevin, you don't understand. Patricia tried again. I understand perfectly, Kevin interrupted. And Mother, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed that you used my wedding as a weapon. I'm ashamed that you manipulated Elena. I'm ashamed that you've carried this hatred for so long. Patricia's face went pale. Kevin, don't speak to me that way. Why not? Kevin challenged. You speak to everyone else that way. You judge people. You exclude people. You manipulate people. Well, I'm done with it. Mother, until you apologize to Sophia, a real, genuine apology, I don't want to see you or speak to you. You can't be serious, Patricia said, her voice wavering. I'm completely serious, Kevin said. He took Elena's hand. Elena and I are leaving, and we're not coming back until you make this right. Kevin, if you walk out that door, Patricia warned. Then I walk out, Kevin said firmly. My wife's family is more important than your approval. We walked to the door. Patricia didn't follow us, but as we reached the exit, she called out. Elena, you're really going to let him choose her over me, after everything I did to welcome you into this family. Elena turned back. Patricia, you didn't welcome me into your family. You used me. You made me betray my own sister to serve your revenge. That's not welcoming. That's manipulation. I gave you everything, Patricia said, her voice rising. I helped plan your wedding. I introduced you to important people. I bought you and Kevin a house. You owe me. I owe you nothing, Elena said. You did all of those things to control me, to make me dependent on you, to make sure I do whatever you wanted. Well, I'm done being controlled. Sophia is my sister, and I choose her over you. We left Patricia standing in her mansion, stunned into silence. 1 week after the confrontation with Patricia, Elena and I were sitting in my Chicago apartment drinking coffee when my phone rang. It was an unknown Lowe's Angels number. Hello, I answered. Sophia, it's Patricia Morrison. I put the phone on speaker so Elena could hear. What do you want, Patricia? I'm calling to apologize, Patricia said, and her voice sounded different, less imperious, almost humble. I'm listening, I said. I was wrong, Patricia said. About everything. I was wrong to exclude you from the wedding. I was wrong to manipulate Elena. I was wrong to carry hatred for your mother for all these years. And I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing now? I asked. A week ago, you were proud of what you'd done. Because Kevin hasn't spoken to me since that day, Patricia admitted. Neither has Amanda. My husband is furious with me. My friends are asking questions about why Kevin and Elena aren't at family events, and I've had a lot of time to think about what I've done. And, I prompted. And I realize that I've become the villain in my own story, Patricia said quietly. I spent 30 years hatting your mother for something that wasn't even her fault. Michael chose her. That was his decision. But instead of moving on, I let bitterness consume me. And when I had the chance to hurt you, Rosa's daughter, I took it without thinking about the consequences. You thought about the consequences, I corrected. You just didn't care about them. You cared more about revenge than about your son's happiness or Elena's family relationships. You're right, Patricia said. I did, and I was wrong. Sophia, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I am genuinely sorry. You didn't deserve what I did to you. You were innocent, and I hurt you deliberately to satisfy my own ego. I was quiet for a moment. Then I asked, Patricia, did you ever consider that my mother might have been devastated when Michael died? That losing him might have been traumatic for her? That the trust fund money might have been bittersweet because it was all she had left of the man she loved? No, Patricia admitted. I never thought about it that way. I only thought about what I'd lost. I never considered what Rosa had lost, too. My mother loved Michael, I said. She told me about him once, years before she died. She said he was her first love. She said losing him broke something in her that never fully healed. But she moved on. She married my father and built a life. She didn't spend 30 years hatting you for dadding Michael before her. She let go and moved forward. She was a better person than I am, Patricia said softly. Yes, I agreed. She was. There was a long pause. Then Patricia said, Sophia, I'd like to do something to make amends. I can't undo what I did, but I can try to make it right going forward. How? I asked skeptically. I want to pay for you to have the celebration you deserved, Patricia said. Not a wedding, I know that's not appropriate, but a family celebration. You and Elena, your father, your relatives, I'll cover all the costs. I'll plan it myself if you want, or I'll hire someone to plan it. Whatever you want. I just want to give you the family gathering you should have had. I don't want your money, Patricia, I said. Then what do you want? Patricia asked. I thought about it. I want you to tell the truth. What do you mean? Patricia asked. I want you to contact everyone who was at the wedding, I said. I want you to tell them the truth about why I wasn't there. I want you to explain that you deliberately excluded me and made Elena lie about it. I want everyone who believed I abandoned Elena to know that I was the one who was abandoned. That will humiliate me, Patricia said. Good, I said. You spent Elena's entire wedding letting people think I was a terrible sister. You let my father give a speech supporting that lie. You let my entire family believe I was the villain. Now you can tell them the truth and accept the consequences. All right, Patricia said after a moment. I'll do it. I'll send an email to everyone who attended the wedding. I'll tell them the truth. I want to see it before you send it, I said. I want to approve the wording. Agreed, Patricia said. 2 days later, Patricia sent me a draft of the email she planned to send to all the wedding guests. Elena and I reviewed it together. The email read, "Dear friends and family, I'm writing to correct a misstatement that was made at Kevin and Elena's wedding 3 months ago. During the reception, it was stated that Elena's sister Sophia was unable to attend the wedding due to family conflict and disapproval of the marriage. This was untrue. The truth is that I, Patricia Morrison, requested that Sophia not be invited to the wedding. I made this request based on personal issues I have with Sophia's late mother, issues that date back 30 years and have nothing to do with Sophia herself. I manipulated Elena into excluding her sister and then convinced her to tell guests that Sophia had chosen not to attend. This was wrong. Sophia did not choose to miss her sister's wedding. She was deliberately excluded by me and then blamed for that exclusion. Sophia is not at fault in any way. I am entirely at fault. I am deeply ashamed of my actions. I used my son's wedding to pursue petty revenge, and in doing so, I hurt innocent people and damaged family relationships. I take full responsibility for what happened. If you believed that Sophia was a bad sister for not attending the wedding, I apologize for misleading you. The truth is that Sophia is a devoted sister who was wrongly excluded and unfairly vilified. I hope you will afford Sophia the respect and apology she deserves. Sincerely, Patricia Morrison." She actually wrote this, Elena said in disbelief. She's actually going to tell everyone the truth. Do you think it's enough? I asked. It's a start, Elena said. Sophia, I know this doesn't fix everything, but at least people will know the truth now. Can I add something? I asked Patricia when I called her back. What is it? Patricia asked. I want you to add that you've also made a donation to a charity in my mother's name, I said. The Rosa Martinez Memorial Scholarship Fund. It helps underprivileged students pay for college. I want you to donate the amount you would have spent on my portion of the wedding. Whatever you calculated I would have cost in food, photos, etc. That's fair, Patricia said. I'll do it. And Patricia, I added, I want you to know that I don't forgive you. Not yet, maybe not ever. What you did was cruel and vindictive, but I appreciate you finally telling the truth. I understand. Patricia said, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want to stop hurting people. 3 weeks after Patricia sent the email, I started receiving messages from wedding guests. Dozens of them. Aunts, uncles, cousins, Elena's friends, people I barely knew. All of them apologizing. Sophia, I'm so sorry I believed the lies about you. I feel terrible for judging you without knowing the truth. You deserved better than what happened to you. Your mother would be proud of how you handled this. My father called me crying. Mija, I'm so sorry. I should have stood up for you. I should have told everyone the truth. I was a coward. Yes, you were, I agreed. But Dad, I understand why you didn't speak up. You were trying to keep the peace. You were trying not to ruin Elena's wedding day. I don't agree with what you did, but I understand it. Can you forgive me? Dad asked. Eventually, I said, but right now I need some time. I understand, Dad said. I love you, Mija. I love you too, Dad. Elena and I also started rebuilding our relationship slowly. She came to visit me in Chicago every few weeks. We talked on the phone regularly. She apologized constantly for what she'd done. Sophia, I was so weak, Elena said during one visit. I should have fought for you. I should have told Patricia to go to hell. Instead, I let her manipulate me into betraying you. You did, I agreed. But Elena, I'm not blameless either. I judged you for caring about money and success. I made you feel like your choices weren't valid. Maybe if I'd been more supportive of your lifestyle, you wouldn't have felt like you had to choose between me and Kevin's family. That's not an excuse, Elena said. You're my sister. You should have been at my wedding, period. There's no justification for what I did. No, I said. There isn't. but I'm willing to try to move past it if you're willing to do the work." "I am," Elena promised. "Sophia, I want my sister back. I want to rebuild what we had." "It won't be the same as before," I warned her. "I know," Elena said, "but maybe it can be better, more honest, more real." 6 months after Elena's wedding, Patricia made good on her offer to host a family celebration for Elena and me. But instead of an expensive party at a fancy venue, I asked for something different. "I want a family reunion," I told Patricia. "Nothing fancy, just our relatives, Elena's and mine, getting together for a weekend, somewhere meaningful." "Where?" Patricia asked. "San Antonio," I said. "Where my mother grew up, where she met Michael. I want to celebrate there in her hometown." Patricia agreed. She rented out a community center in San Antonio and invited all of Elena's and my relatives. About 70 people came, aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends. Kevin and Patricia came too, though Patricia stayed in the background, clearly uncomfortable but present. The celebration was simple. There were tables of food, my mother's favorite dishes that my aunts prepared. There were old family photos displayed on boards. There was music and dancing and stories. And there were toasts. My father stood up first. "I want to toast my daughters, Sophia and Elena. These 2 girls lost their mother too young, but they never lost each other. Even when life tried to tear them apart, they found their way back. Rosa would be so proud of the women they've become." Elena stood up next. "I want to toast my sister Sophia. She raised me after Mom died. She sacrificed so much for me, and when I betrayed her, she didn't give up on me. She gave me the chance to make things right. Sophia, you're the best person I know. I love you." Then I stood up. "I want to toast my mother, Rosa Martinez. She lost the love of her life at a young age, but she didn't let that tragedy define her. She built a beautiful life. She raised 2 daughters who loved her. She taught us strength and kindness and resilience. Mom, wherever you are, I hope you're proud. And Michael, if you're with her, take care of her for us." Everyone raised their glasses. There were tears, but they were good tears, healing tears. At the end of the night, Patricia approached me. "Thank you for allowing me to be here," she said. "I didn't deserve an invitation." "No, you didn't," I agreed. "But Elena wanted you here, and I'm trying to be the bigger person." "You are a bigger person," Patricia said. "You're like your mother that way. Rosa was always gracious, even to people who didn't deserve it. I'm sorry I never saw that before. I'm sorry I wasted 30 years hating her instead of admiring her." "It's a little late for that," I said. "But Patricia, I appreciate you trying. I appreciate you telling the truth. And I appreciate you giving me this celebration. It won't erase what you did, but it's a step." "I'll take whatever steps you'll allow me," Patricia said. 1 year after Elena's wedding, the wedding I wasn't invited to, but was the topic of every conversation. I stood in my classroom in Chicago on the last day of school before summer break. My students had just left, their voices echoing down the hallway as they ran towards summer vacation. I was packing up my classroom when my phone rang. It was Elena. "Hey, sis," Elena said. "Are you busy?" "Just finishing up," I said. "What's up?" "I have something to tell you," Elena said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "Kevin and I are having a baby. I'm pregnant." I felt joy surge through me. "Elena, that's wonderful. Congratulations." "Thank you," Elena said. "And Sophia, I want you to be the godmother. Will you do it?" "Of course," I said, tears forming in my eyes. "I'd be honored." "There's something else," Elena said. "Kevin and I have been talking. If it's a girl, we want to name her Rosa, after Mom. We want our daughter to have a piece of the grandmother she'll never meet." I started crying in earnest. "Elena, that's beautiful. Mom would love that." "I hope so," Elena said. "Sophia, I know this past year has been hard. I know we're still rebuilding. But I want you to know that you're my sister and you're the most important person in my life. And I'm never going to let anyone, not Kevin's family, not anyone, come between us again." "I believe you," I said. "And Elena, I'm proud of you. You stood up to Patricia. You chose family over approval. You did the right thing." "Only because you showed me how," Elena said. Sophia, you're my hero. You always have been. After we hung up, I sat in my empty classroom thinking about the past year, about being excluded from Elena's wedding, about being the topic of every conversation at an event I wasn't invited to, about discovering Patricia's 30-year grudge, about fighting for the truth and for my relationship with my sister. It had been the hardest year of my life, but it had also taught me something important, that love is worth fighting for, that family is worth fighting for, that the truth is worth fighting for. I wasn't invited to Elena's wedding, but in a strange way, being excluded had forced both Elena and me to confront what really mattered. It had forced us to choose each other deliberately, consciously, instead of just assuming we'd always be there. And in the end, that choice, that conscious, deliberate choice to fight for our relationship, was worth more than any wedding invitation. 2 years after Elena's wedding, I received a package in the mail. Inside was a photo album. The cover read, "The Martinez Sisters, Our Real Story." I opened it. The first page had a photo of me and Elena as children, arms around each other, smiling at the camera. Underneath, Elena had written, "This is where our story starts. 2 sisters who loved each other." The album continued with photos throughout our childhood, our teenage years, our adult lives. But the last section was new photos, pictures from the past 2 years. Elena and me at the San Antonio celebration. Elena and me at her baby shower. Elena and me in the hospital the day baby Rosa was born. And on the very last page, there was a photo from just last week. Elena, Kevin, baby Rosa, and me all together at a park in Los Angeles. We were sitting on a blanket having a picnic. Everyone was smiling. Baby Rosa, named after our mother, was reaching her tiny hands toward me. Underneath the photo, Elena had written, "Sophia, you weren't invited to my wedding, but you're invited to every moment of my life going forward. You're invited to my daughter's life. You're invited to our family. You're invited to our future, not because you're my sister, but because I choose you. Every single day I choose you. I love you. Elena." I held the photo album to my chest and cried. I'd been excluded from Elena's wedding. I'd been the topic of every conversation at an event I wasn't allowed to attend. I'd been used as a weapon in Patricia Morrison's revenge scheme. I'd been vilified and blamed and hurt. But in the end, I'd gotten something more valuable than a wedding invitation. I'd gotten my sister back. And this time it was real. This time it was forever. This time nobody could take it away. My name is Sophia Martinez. I'm 44 years old. 2 years ago, I wasn't invited to my sister's wedding. But I was invited to her life, and that was always the invitation that mattered most. This story teaches us. Sparkles' family bonds can survive betrayal with truth and effort, Sparkles. Grudges hurt the person holding them most of all. Sparkles, standing up for the truth is worth the cost. Sparkles, real apologies require action. Not just words. Sparkles, manipulation only works when people stay silent. Sparkles, love means fighting for relationships worth saving. Sparkles, the past doesn't have to define the future. Sparkles, choosing family is more powerful than assuming family. If this story moved you, subscribe for more powerful family reconciliation stories. Smash that like button. Turn on notifications bell. Drop a comment. Would you have forgiven Elena and Patricia? Should Sophia have demanded more from Patricia? Where are you watching from? United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Mexico, Philippines, Jamaica, Kenya, South Africa. Remember, wealthy people don't get to exclude family based on status. In-laws should never come before siblings. Lies always come out eventually. Standing up for yourself inspires others to do the same. Truth is more powerful than manipulation. Grudges from decades ago hurt everyone. Real apologies require making amends. Family relationships require active choice. Being excluded hurts, but being chosen heals. You deserve people who fight for you. Don't let anyone rewrite your story. Blood doesn't excuse betrayal. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Choose the family that chooses you back. Thank you for following Sophia and Elena's journey from exclusion to reconciliation.